going to be very strange. And welcome to people on the replay as well. So fantastic to see you. Day 3 of the Using LinkedIn to Make Sales Challenge. And I am looking forward to a few people sharing some wins today. So this is exciting already. So well done for everybody going in there. Well done for leaning into this challenge. You know, being here, as you can tell, we do a lot of Q&A. We got a lot of time for interaction. So it's great to be on the live shows. So what are we actually looking at today? Let's just get the old presentation up. And here we go. Fantastic. So using LinkedIn to make it day three of the challenge. So remember, again, this is your $1 million hour today, gang. So I'm going to make sure that we finish halfway through, and then you'll get time to implement these. Every single tasking activity is designed to be able to be done within this hour. So let's just go for it, right? Yesterday, we covered this bit of the system. Remember, this is the system that we're going through this week. And we got those message campaigns, both connector campaigns and also the 80 message campaign. So that gives you the 100 club, 20 people that you're connecting with that are not connected with you currently. And you're going to go out to that low hanging fruit, those people that are first degree connections that are in your target market with the 80. So we worked through that, and many of you hit the 100 club. Congratulations. So that was the 80 reaction. And also what we did, we kind of wrote that connection request template as well, point 2 on this, and then sent out those 20s. Right, look at this. It can be done. Remember I said at the start for the last 2 days, believe it can be done. Well, here we go. So John here, after posting and hitting the 100 club yesterday, 4 positive responses so far. Hell yes, John, well done. So we then also had Jan here. I can know Jan's on the call. I've seen him this morning. So I think here we had, obviously, remember when you're going out and you put your head above the parapet, right, gang? So look, you're going to fluff a few feathers. You're going to or ruffle a few feathers, maybe. You're also going to, you know, kind of, some people don't like getting messages. Some people go, how dare you message me? So just kind of take the rough with the smooth. So Jan's had some declines there, although they were polite, so that's fine. But he also had 3 people suggesting team sessions, which essentially obviously is Teams, Microsoft Teams, that's booking in sessions with him, which is fantastic. So really, really cool. Nice. He said big difference it made there. And then he's gone on and has gone 6 positive responses. So how good's that? So Jan's smashing out of the park. Karen, I've seen on the call today. Fantastic. And I will ask people to kind of just share their thoughts in a second, but I'm just going to rattle through a couple of these screenshots. Tally by the end of the day, 6 calls scheduled in the diary. Boom, and still counting. I love it. Great stuff. And Jay there, she got 1 call scheduled as well after she did it, but realized that she had 797 people as a low-hanging fruit. That's going to take you, you know, 10 days to get through those. And the yield from this, by the way, will pay off, because I don't know about you, but I'm not on LinkedIn every day, you know, and I run a LinkedIn challenge, right? So not all of your audience is going to be on LinkedIn all of the time. And so the messages you sent out yesterday, they will still yield for you for at least another week as people start to pick them up. And that's the wonderful thing of this almost compounding interest of this sequence, is that you're putting these little assets out there that they'll get picked up by people when they kind of loop around and do a bit of LinkedIn messaging. You'll build those relationships. They'll jump onto your profile. They'll check out your wonderful new headline and realize that actually they hadn't considered you in that way before, and you are the person for them. How exciting is that? So really, really great shares there. Really, really excited to see all of that happening for you guys. So let's just stick it back into the room and get a couple of people. Maybe just do the little digital hand. Who wants to share how they found yesterday? You know, don't worry. Give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. So feel free to share. Jan, straight in. You're a good person to maybe start with. How do you go?
Surprisingly good. I have been doing LinkedIn prospecting before and trying to build a relationship with asking questions and providing articles and what have you. Yeah. So I was not completely comfortable by just putting it in the face. Let's talk. And I must say I'm pleasantly surprised by the response. Actually, I think it's getting higher response if you get the problem bit right. And I think that's also part of what you just mentioned earlier. it's problem solving, but you have to get the problem right, that hits a nerve and that they trigger on that. And it looks like I got something right for a certain group. So about 5, 6 appointments, I think that's a good result. So if you have 6 leads per day,
like you take that, right?
And I really like, by the way, the compliment of one lady says, well, good mail. So I think that's also interesting. And another one, all of them responding positively, either ignored me in previous attempts or said no in previous attempts, maybe even a year ago. So yeah, keep on going. Just don't offend anybody. But it takes 5 no's to get a yes, maybe, huh?
Oh yeah, well, and actually, what you're seeing here, and what Jan's coming to, is that we did a test of, so I think I might have frozen there. So we're saying we did a test of 80 people there. So Jan has a 6 in 80 ratio currently. Now it could be good, obviously, you know, he's going to the low hanging fruit. So we know there's different ratios there, but as he builds his connections, if we know that you're going to get, you know, 6 in 80, basically we're going to get like 8%. Around about that in terms of people coming back to you. So you can start to think, well, if I get this, you know, this kind of value and this network growing every single day, that's the 20, then we're putting other potential leads into our hopper. And so therefore the wealth and that market size of that first search, you know, 197,000 people for me, that's the opportunity. So if 8% of that audience would have a call with Jan, boom, Jan, you know, like you'll be buying some private islands and all the rest of it soon. So I want to stay your friend, right? So that's the whole point. So you work on that. Okay, cool. Love it. Well done. John, let's hear yours. By the way, let's give it up for Jan, by the way. Excellent results so far. Woo, 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 woo. Yes. The headline as well, I think, was important in that. So great work. John, let's hear from you.
Amazing. Well, I'm up to eight positive people that have come back and said, yeah, I want to call. So, which is freaking amazing. I haven't actually booked them yet because I want to see today's call. 8, yeah.
8? God, 8. Go on then.
And
that's fantastic. How many did you send? Did you hit the 100 club?
I hit the 100, yeah. I think I did 83 messages. I got a bit carried away. I was on a roll.
Those extra 3 made all the difference.
What I found is I sent the first message. I got a few, you know, it wasn't quite right. And then I tweaked it a little bit. I tweaked the language a little bit, made it a little bit more my own. And I was just straight up about like, this is me. This is what I'm actually trying to do.
Yes.
In or out. Right. And a couple of people, one guy just said, you know, like I love the no bullshit approach. Here's my diary link.
Yeah.
Like,
cool.
Straight in. I had a couple that came back and were like, you know, I don't, you know, like, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction that they said, you know, I don't want any of your services. And I was just like, dude, I haven't even spoken about my services yet. Yeah. All right. And gave them a bit of sass back. I kind of went a bit backwards and forwards and going, listen, like if that's your reaction, like we're probably not a good match anyway. So, you know, good luck with your future endeavors. And then they came back and were like, no, I'm sorry, I judged you too soon. I think there's something magical about just standing and you're like, okay, this is what I'm actually doing. Like, this is what I'm doing, you know, out. No kind of, you know, there's no, because I've done a lot of theory of this stuff, of you know, all the tactics and things like that. But I think, you know, your approach is just ask for what you want. Yeah. Just be clear. And I think for the right people and the additional insight you've given us on how to really zoom in on people that actually want something, you know, that actually have the problem, you know, you're just offering them the next step. And I'm finding that works really well. So
that will look, and thank you for that. I think that's exactly right. It's the fact that you've gone, right, no more am I going to try and, you know, date the world. I'm going to go after this type of person, and I'm just going to say, hey, you know, I like you. Let's have a chat. You know, it's simple as that. You just swipe right. So it's whatever it is. So I'm
going to use that for the next iteration. Hi, I like you. Let's have a chat.
Let's have a chat. Yeah, just go for that. But the point that I just think it's called, you know, I've talked about this a couple of times over the last couple of days. Stop friend zoning your audience. You've got enough friends. Let's actually have some proper conversations. This problem, you know, the whole point of them jumping on a strategy session is so you can help them. You can actually assist them to be able to take the next step. Now, if it comes out of them, there's no further thing for your relationship in terms of a sale, fine, but you've given them some few ideas. They might take it away and implement it. That's cool, right? Like that's, we are experts here. So we come from a position of wanting to help. So it's really just, flexing that muscle that we enjoy working and doing that anyway. So that's cool, and if it comes to something, great. If it doesn't, because we're not expecting to close every one of those. Jan's not expecting to close all 6 of those. You're not expecting to close all 8, but you probably are expecting to close 1 or 2. So that's exciting. So now we know that in one day we can, find appointments. And if we can find appointments, we know if we use our sales tactics, and I'll go over that later in this challenge, we should be able to close. And if we can close, bam, we've now got a business that scales. Nice. Love it. I'm going to take one more with Karen, and then I've got to jump into it. So sorry, Maurice. But I'm going to go to Karen, and then I'm going to jump in and start working through today's activity. Karen, yes.
I'll be quick. Before this, last week, I would rather stick pins in my eyes than do this challenge. And I know we've spoken, Richard, this whole thing, eat my own vomit, put pins in my eyes. I hate this stuff. Yeah, I'll be completely honest. However, I'm at a point in my business where I've invested heavily in my team. I'm doubling my turnover. I've got to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. And I've got to try these different things. And I just knew I've set the intention on Sunday evening that I was going to play full out with this. Just get over yourself, follow the process, see what shows up. And it was like putting all the emotions to one side and just doing the work. And yeah, I'm eating humble pie. So 4 calls already scheduled in the diary, 2 happening today, and another 4 people already wanting to arrange dates in March. And I haven't even done the follow-ups. So yes. Thank you, Richard.
Yes, thank you. This is congratulations. Well done. Let's give it up for all 3 of our shares. And I know there's many other people that have shared in that Facebook group that they've got appointments as well. So congratulations. And if you need any further inspiration to lean in to this process and actually, send out those messages, just go for it. Just go for it. You never know. You just never know what might happen, right? Okay, good stuff. So let's come back in. Great work. Okay, so we're sharing. So we are. So today, let's look at the agenda. Today, we're going to look at this piece down the funnel. So now we know that we're actually getting replies. Let's try and help Matt systemize that really nicely for you, and also help you to qualify those people coming in. Because what happens, and if you look at my diary at the moment, my next available appointment for my strategy sessions is the 11th of March. So this tactics works so well that I'm just absolutely blown out of the water with the amount of strategy sessions. Now, that's not a problem if every single one of those strategy sessions is highly qualified and the right type of person. Hell, I will add extra hours into the day if that's the case, right? But we need to make sure that we don't have no-shows, because that will, really be frustrating. And also the people that do turn up are the right type of people that would want to work with you. So we're going to do that. We're going to help you to automate that and also automate the reminders. And we're going to do that. Remember, if you probably are using Calendly, or you might be using this stuff before, but I'm going to show you a few ninja bits or little tweaks to be able to help the advanced users here, as well as just get you on board and start this if you haven't done it before. And then there's also the qualifying piece that I want to show you, which will really help. But it comes, again, remember, we're experts. It comes from a position of value, this qualifying, not from a position of going, how much money have you got? No, I don't want to have a chat with you. Which is the worst way of doing it. That's a salesperson qualification, whereas we can do it a lot more classy and make sure we've got the right people into those appointments, right? And that's what we're going to show you today. So we're going to formalize your strategy session booking system. We're going to create a lead qualification plan. We're going to use the booking link in a second version of your outreach email. So we're going to actually do a little A/B test on your outreach emails. If you've got more of those low-hanging fruits, we're going to test going straight in with the booking link. And we're going to create the yes to booking reply template. So when someone goes back, yeah, I'd love to have a chat, then let's create the reply template that goes back to that. Why did we create the reply templates? Because we have this with our $1 Million Sprint clients. We have a TNAD methodology. Try it, nail it, automate it, and then delegate it. So if you've got reply templates that you use all the time, awesome, right? Because those reply templates you can use and show your delegated people to do this for you. and therefore, you know, it's your words and they're just doing it for you. If you've got automations, then you take the human out of it. So this whole thing can be done without you. Cool, that's what we like. Right, so I'm going to go through the basics of this very quickly because I don't want to teach you to suck eggs. I think by now, a lot of us are using things like Calendly. This is a Calendly automatic booking system, and this is how people will come on to book a strategy session with me, and hopefully for you. What I just want to point out with a bit of this is that just remember, when you're creating these things, brand the appointment. This is part of this qualification, right? So if you're saying, hey, remember, we've gone direct out on the ask. This isn't a virtual coffee. This is a, hey, I'd love to show you my program. And so therefore the branded event that you're asking people to come to is a strategy session. And therefore you need something above it, right? So for me, my company's $1 Million Sprint. So it's a $1 Million Sprint strategy session. For you, it might be, you know, it could be I don't know, a business growth strategy session. It could be a weight loss strategy session. It could be whatever your niche is. It's that type of strategy session, right? So you brand that. So let's just jump onto Calendly. And I just want to, if you haven't used it, by the way, Calendly basic versions are free. My favorite number, so you can work the free version, but I would probably say it's worth going to premium because of things like the text message reminders, right? So this is my Calendly, and what you'll see here, and actually what I'll do, just because it's quite nice sometimes to see someone else's stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the link and I'm going to paste it into the chat and I'm going to remove this bit at the top here so you can see all of my events there. If I do this here, yeah, great. So you'll be able to see all of my events. So you can see kind of how I've created different events. So let me just stick that in the chat because it will be interesting. So just grab that and maybe keep it on another tab for later as a bit of a reference. But what you'll first note here is I've got multiple strategy sessions and they're all the same type. The only difference is there's an E there, there's an F there, there's a YT there, there's an MS there, there's an LI there, and so on, right? What that means is that those are little bits that just tell me that LI is the link that we use for LinkedIn. So that link only gets given to people who we prospect on LinkedIn. So I can now see when I look at my diary and the strategy sessions coming in, exactly how many leads I get from LinkedIn. E is when we do email outreach. And so therefore that's where I can attribute the energy. So if we're putting energy, and ultimately when you start to delegate and put cost centers into these different funnels, then you'll know, well, actually I'm spending money here. So therefore my ROI, my return is 20 strategy sessions this month from my email campaigns. This F is Facebook. This is my generalist one. So this is the kind of the word of mouth one. And that's like the collect all hopper of everything else. YT's YouTube. Now, MS is quite an interesting one. That's we're using for an affiliate. So we've got an affiliate that recommends us and she has a specific link, you know, and we've got 2 or 3 of these set up and they have specific links just for them that they set out. And of course, then they get a commission for recommending and booking strategy sessions for us. And we just trust them to be able to book the right strategy sessions. And we have, of course, a qualifying process to make sure if they are wrong, then we can qualify them out, right? So that's kind of like a nice little way of reapproaching this. There's other ways that you can book in different calls, etc. But that's quite nice to be able to actually segment, right? Now, once you go into this, another couple of ninja things that you can put together. The basics of putting this together, I'm not going to cover because most of us should be there, but you need to have a calendar booking appointment. And what I would do, here's a couple of tips. When you set these up, and they're really simple to set up, you just give them a title, you can give them a location. Ninja tip number 2, if you are using Calendly and you use the Zoom integration, what that means is, because you can choose here, you can choose the different ways it integrates. This is a custom integration. So if I go here, it actually says custom, right? Whereas a lot of people will go to use the Zoom integration because it's a Zoom meeting. What that does, and the downside of that, is it gives a unique link for every single one of your Zooms. Now, when you're like me and you start backing strategy sessions up, so I have a strategy session every 45 minutes, you know, and then I have a break, you know, every kind of couple of strategy sessions, etc. What it means, if I have to jump from one link to another link to another link, you're always late or always early, or you cut one short because you've got to jump onto the next one because you're do that, but then that person doesn't turn up and you're like, oh, I'll just cut that one short. If you use your personal meeting room Zoom link and you do it as a custom, you just write the text in that, it means that everybody comes into your same room. And if everybody comes into the same room, it means that ping, ping, there's someone in the waiting room. So that gives you the opportunity to go, sorry, Dave, I just need to wrap this up. I've got Frank in the waiting room. It's been a lovely chat. You know, obviously we'll put those actions. But if it's going really well with Dave and Frank doesn't turn up to his call for whatever reason, it means I can just crack on through with Frank to be able, Dave to be able to carry on and close him. And it means I'm not under pressure. So it allows me to kind of ebb and flow with the waiting room, and it gives me a prompt to be able to get off one. Because you know, there's conversations that you want to wrap up quickly, but you can never kind of find a reason to do so. That's a beautiful way of doing it, right? Because everybody jumps into the waiting room. Cool. So that's another little ninja tip to make sure you use your Zoom link. Here's, you can put like nice description about it. You give it a URL, etc. That's pretty simple. The final tip, the final tip before I go into reminders of just setting up the appointment, don't just say, on Tuesday between 8:15 and 5:30, I'm available. Because if you do that, what happens is that people will straddle 45-minute sessions, right? So if your strategy session is 45 minutes, and I would say keep it to 45 minutes, 30 minutes, you're too rushed to actually do any kind of rapport stuff. An hour is way too long. You can do a strategy session in 45 minutes, right? You do 15 minutes to get to know your rapport, 15 minutes of strategy, 15 minutes of sales at the end, right? So just work that kind of quarter thirds, right? And we can come on to that later in the challenge. But if you put these as actual 45-minute slots in here, even if one slot ends and then another one immediately starts, it means that people can only book in those slots, as opposed to someone booking in a 2:30 slot. And that would then mean that they kind of basically straddle the two appointment slots. So therefore they take one of your availability slots away. And so they kind of take two slots for actually one booking. That's so important as you start to scale, as you start to get these appointments in, because genuinely you should see blocks of strategy sessions. So on a Tuesday where I'm doing most of my sales days, it's like bam, 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 bam. And I'll just have a nice sales day, right? That's so vitally important to make sure that you get that right. Otherwise, you'll just find that you know, for 5 slots, you might have 2 people in there, and it just kind of canes the day, right? Okay, so that's just about setting that up. And of course, once you've got that set up, you can save this time slot as a template, and then you use that template for all the other duplicate strategy sessions that you're using for, say, email and YouTube, etc. Cool, makes sense. Okay, good stuff, right? The final bit that I want to talk about here then is actually just making sure that we put together the workflows for actually following up these strategy sessions. And you want to make sure that you're sending reminders and text. So this is where Calendly will come into its own, whether you go for the premium, is that you can send an email and a text 24 hours before, and also 30 minutes before. And they're just simply setting up workflows like that. And those, when you go into this in Calendly or whatever you're doing, do make sure that you do a double, reminder, and it's both email and text, because people are busy and you just don't want the people not show up. It's really easy. Do this, send an email, and you just tailor that email to use all these variables, which is all kind of preset in their template. And it will say, hey, this is a friendly reminder that your event is on here, bam, right? So that would be the email. And then on the text will be very much similar, right? And you just set it up there and it just goes out, right? And if you wanted to, actually, I just realized I could actually make that go out from my email if I get that integrated properly, which I probably should do. But I guess the other side of that is that I will be sending an email personally anyway, which I'm going to come on to in a second. So a lot of people have Calendly that's enabled through their spam filters. And so sometimes it's okay to use Calendly because people will be seeing that coming through, and they'll feel kind of like they understand that. It's the same reason why we use Zoom registrations, because people are used to Zoom coming in. So their inbox usually has it okay for Zoom messages to get through the spam filters as well. Cool. Okay, good stuff. So that's kind of the setup of those Calendly appointments, and you'll get a link then for your LinkedIn. The next bit is that we've got a couple of ways to be able to qualify people. So once you do that, you'll be able to ask questions when someone books. And those questions should be real quality qualifier questions. The sort of questions that actually 95% of the people that fill in this form, you should be able to qualify them either as a good lead or a bad lead based purely on these 5 questions. Now, actually, it's not the 5 questions, it's only 2. And if you've spotted them, it's those 2 for me. And they don't have to be these 2. I'm going to give you some other options in a second. But for me, it's those 2. Why? Because if I'm working with expert businesses and I see and ask them for their website address, I'll be very much be able to see, first of all, do they have one? Second of all, if they do have one, how well put together is it? And so if it is really nicely put together and it's quite, it's got a really nice sort of feel to it, awesome, right? Got a good website address. I like that. Okay, so website address, really, really important, and I can qualify them there. The second piece is we ask this question, where would you like your business to be 12 months from now, right? And by knowing that, that can give me a great assessment that on the answer, if people are under ambitious, then perhaps that's not the right type of person for us. If people are over ambitious, like they'll say, I mean, we get some that I want to be, 300 million in 12 months. And I look at their website and it's basically just starting out and it's, nowhere near there. You think, no, you're a dreamer, buddy. So it's kind of like, you can qualify out by having those questions. Really, really important because you can then cancel those questions off the back of that. So the type of questions that I would recommend maybe for you guys is something along these lines. What's your biggest priority right now? So these don't always have to be similar businesses to mine. This could apply to yours. And what you can do, you can tailor this to your niche. So what's your biggest priority right now? Where would you like to be 12 months from now? How big is your team if you want to work with larger companies, etc. If they don't have a team, you might be realizing that actually they're not right for you, particularly if you do sort of HR consultancy, etc. That's a really great question. And you could do a drop-down menu or something for that. What's your website address? Classic. What have you tried in the past and what happened? So actually understanding. So if you say, what have you tried in the past when it comes to weight loss or when it comes to lead generation and what happened, right? So that's how you tailor it to the niche. What does success look like for you? Now, you don't have to use all of these questions, but I would choose 1, maybe 2 of them, and just know that the answers to those questions will give you a really lovely feel on if this is the right type of prospect for you. Cool. What I'll do, just to make it nice and easy, I'm going to chuck those into the chat. Are you here? Okay. Cool. Good stuff. Bam. On the chat for you there. Love it. Okay. Good stuff. So let's keep on going. So the second piece that we want to do is look at this booking follow-up. So 1, we've just qualified them on the way into their booking. Let's think about how we're doing this double qualified. 1, they filled in the form, bam, we've qualified them. Second is that we want to now actually look at your email follow-up and think, right, let's send them an email personally, because look, if it's only 5 or 6 in a day, it might be only 5 or 6 in a week, right? It's not too difficult to send these emails personally, particularly when Calendly will send you a notification that Dave has booked one of these appointments. And so what we do is we copy the details from Calendly, which is basically that when we get the booking confirmation, we click on their name on the email and we send them this. And so the subject would be our chat on the 1st of February, and I send it personally from me. Hi, first name, great to catch up on LinkedIn. Looking forward to seeing you on the 1st of February. Details are as follow. Now, it's easy for me to say great to catch on LinkedIn because I can see that it's LinkedIn there. Even though my team might be running LinkedIn for me, I can still see that the LinkedIn is there. So it's easy for me to put that in, right? In the meantime, I have the below training for you might want to check out on how to double your income and work half the time. Now, why? And also I've got my thesis on how I've scaled a business to $1 million in revenue. Why are those 2 bits important? 1, adds massive value because they're really good training. It's a really good thesis. But 2, it reinforces that I am going to talk to them about scaling their business. Double your income, work half the time. That's scaling, right? Be able to see how I've scaled 2 businesses to $1 million in revenue by reading my thesis. Both of those make it so apparently sure, plus the fact that they booked in through my strategy session, that this is not a virtual coffee. This is not a warm and hugs thing. This is not a two-way sales pitch. You know, we get in those meetings and you don't really know who's pitching who, and everybody's trying to feel it out. It's not that. They know if they've received this, this is my turn and you're coming on to get a strategy for me. And I'm going to keep on giving you value. Awesome bit of training, awesome thesis funnel. Let's look forward to this call together, right? So if they show up, they know that they're there to look at being more than just friends, right? So this is very much nodding the hat towards not playing in that friend zone. Cool. So I send that manually. Jan, was that a question?
Yeah, very quickly. So this goes out automatically from Calendly as a confirmation of the appointments?
No, Calendly does their ones. You know those automations? So 24 hours beforehand, half an hour beforehand, both text and email. Nice kind of confirmation you're doing this strategy session on this date, right? This is a personal email from Richard Woods, and it looks like it's tailored to them, like I've thought about them, but it's the same one. And to be honest with you, Jan, I have a prospector that works for me called Flora, and she has a Richard@$1 Million Sprint email address. And I've got my email address is RW@$1 Million Sprint. So actually she sends this email from me. So I don't even touch this process anymore, but I did, try it, nail it, automate it, delegate it. I did start sending this out and my show up rate went up and my ability to qualify wrong people out, because people cancel appointments off the back of this email, which is great because if it's wrong, it's wrong. It means that my bookings are now really good. And particularly when I've got a nice long runway for that booking, for almost half a month, it means that the quality I know is good in there because they've all had this email. Cool. Makes sense. Who wants this email? Should we stick it into the chat? This is the yeah, John's like, wait the hands. There's another great email in there. Cool. The training's good as well, guys. You should check it out. Okay, so here we go. So that's that bit there. So now just to recap, remember, we've got some nice qualifications. So people that are coming to those appointments are definitely not in the friend zone. That's what we love. So let's qualify. Let's do an A/B test. And why are we A/B testing on these DM campaigns? So let's just zoom out. Remember, we're going to be DMing your first degree connections. That's what we're talking about here. And I'm now going to say for you to add that Calendly link onto it. Why? Well, I just think it's a test and measure thing, right? So you're going out with a nice message that's saying, hey, let's have a chat. Let's try one which has Calendly appointments. Does that mean if you send that out, your inbox goes ping, 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 ping with appointments, and you don't even need to go back and forth with them, people just booking straight in? That would be cool. But also, what happens if it doesn't work as well as the first one? Well, then you're testing. It's more of a culture that you want to bring to your business of everything that you do might not be the best way. So that you should always try something different. So when you bring in a Calendly booking appointment, test it against the one which didn't. So yesterday we did one without. And today, I'm just saying, choose exactly the same format, but maybe just tweak the end. Yeah, I'd love to schedule a call next week so I can show you more. My diary's this. Yeah, have a little go on that. Just have a little tweak, add that in and see. Because I want you to hit the 100 Club again today. The 100 Club again today. And if you don't have enough people in your first degree connections, try a few more searches to see if you can get some more. If you genuinely have gone through those first degree connections, then just crank up, maybe do double the amount of connection requests, get to 40 connection requests today instead of just 20. Just crank up the volume on those connection requests because it's clearly shown that you haven't got enough connections as first degree connections in your target market. If you do, then hit the 100 Club today. So cool. And hit the 100 Club with the B test. Cool. Feel like we can do that? Give us a 1 in the chat if you feel like you can do that. Who's going to hit the 100 Club? Right. Cool. The chat is moving. I love it. Good. So the final thing is here, just before I go on, and I've got a last bit to talk to you about today. But before we do that, this is just the final piece of the agenda, which is the yes to booking reply template. So now if you have got people starting to come back to you, from the original message, then this would be message 2 to follow them up. Remember, we talked about having this kind of really simple way of, I'm going to put this into the chat as well, a nice simple way of working, and let me just go into the chat there, of working template based. So you can delegate this, right? So this is if someone says yes to booking the reply template. So if they say yes to that first message, then you start to send out this. And this is a great, looking forward to it. Probably the best way to find space in both our diaries is via the below link. I hope it's okay and easy, right? Bam. So you're sending that out and you're getting that and you're just churning out. So when someone says yes, bang, fill out. Why is this nice? Because you're saying this, I hope this is okay and easy, because you're saying that probably the best way to get into our diaries, I hope it's okay and easy. Bam. So that's your reply template when someone says yes to a booking. Cool. So nice and easy. Good stuff. So just to recap. So remember, set up your Calendly fully, get that looking really good. Write your pre-meeting emails. That's the one that you send out to people before the meeting. So it helps to qualify, adds value, really tease it up nicely. And then hit the 100 club using your B on the A/B test for the AT. Yeah? Okay. Well, look, gang, just quickly for another couple of minutes, remember, these are tools and tactics. And I'm going to put a post in again for the actions for today to see who hit it. But remember, these are tools and tactics. So tactics are things like these posting messages. You know, these are great tactics. These are great follow-up things. The tools are things like LinkedIn, Calendly. You know, if you're doing wider marketing, you'll be using all the different platforms, right? There's the tools and tactics. Strategies are the things that are vital if you really want to start the scale, because yes, you can use tools and tactics to get meetings, but what are you scaling? Are you scaling the right business? Are you scaling something that doesn't require you to constantly be doing everything? Are you scaling where you're selling one-to-one? Because if you're selling one-to-one, then actually how can you get more than, 15 clients when you're selling one-to-one, right? So what are your objectives? Where do you want to go? And strategies fit that mold. They're a plan of action designed to achieve long-term or overall aim, right? So real big strategies for your business growth. That's the stuff that really excites me. And that's the stuff that allows you to put together these funnels. This is the $1 million sprint methodology, this awareness. This is what we're kind of doing on LinkedIn with the connection stuff. Consider that's your DM piece and the organic stuff you've got to be putting out there, and then convert as your sales process. Then once people do buy, then you need to delight them, you need to gamify your offering, you need to create advocates, right? So they have a wow moment with your product offering. And that can be put together through a journey. So what we do at the $1 Million Sprint, and I'm just going to give you a bit of a snippet idea, and then if you're interested, I can show you how you can find out some more information. But what we do at the $1 Million Sprint is we help you scale to $84,000 a month. What that is about £61,000. Why £61,000? Well, using the strategies that we help people in terms of how they account for their business, their take home after tax personally will be about £30,000 a month. That's beautiful because in the UK, £30,000 after tax per month into your bank account pretty much buys all the country clubs and cars and houses and stuff that you want to do. Doesn't buy Jan's Island, but that's all right. We can start to scale harder than that later. But that's the wonderful thing about going up to a business of that size. But there's a route. And there's different stuff that you need to do to be able to go through different levels. So we've got different processes to get to heat 1, 5K per month, heat 2, 10K per month. And we have this sprint, this kind of Olympic Games type methodology. And I want to take you through this system. I want to show you this, but we don't have time to do that on this call today because I just want to honor the Q&A and honor the fact it's a 5-day challenge. So I am going to run a separate session today because if you guys are getting appointments with 1 day of activity, by just 1 day, imagine what we could do together for 12 months, right? Genuinely. And let me show you, how we can do that. So I have a special session at 1:30 today. And that session, I'm going to be doing a full demo of the $1 Million Sprint session, not sprint system, not just LinkedIn, but the wider marketing mix to be able to help you scale to $1 million in revenue. I'm going to demo how this whole LinkedIn process can be automated. So everything you do in the 100 Club could be completely automated. I'm going to demo on how you can outsource the rest once you start closing deals. So you can bring in team once you start scaling. I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to demo on the right high ticket product to sell. So let's not sell stuff that is destined to not get to the Hall of Fame. Let's sell the thing that's actually going to get you to the Hall of Fame. So for people that want to come, I've got 10 special, I have 10 special offer seats basically within what we're doing. I'm not selling anything now. I'm just going to give you guys a link if you want to book into that 1:30 session. But the lovely thing about the people that are jumping on and getting the first 10 seats from this is that my team is going to set up all that LinkedIn automation stuff for you. So we're going to translate everything you've done today into an automation software, and we're going to help you then to get that thing going. We'll cover the cost of that growth software for you for a period. We'll have a personal one-to-one session with me to get you closing deals. So not just opening up appointments, but closing deals and reviewing those deals. We're going to guarantee you will close sales and grow working with us. And we're going to plug and play templates into your business, marketing and sales assets straight into your business. And the other cool thing about it is that everybody is very similar to a lot of the other things we do. We're going to put a whole blueprint of how I put this whole 5-day challenge together, including a swipe file with every single email that I send, every single Facebook post that I put out, every single back end bit that you don't see into a complete blueprint, and you'll get that as part of the challenge. That's actually event number 1. We've got 15 different funnels. One of them is a 5-day challenge funnel with complete blueprints. But the other 15 are things like a weekly moment funnel, they're things like Instagram, they're things like YouTube. So the entire system is all about helping you guys to be able to implement this marketing mix, but just one at a time, because you don't want to do everyone. So if you're interested in that, book into this. So I'll just chuck this into the chat, 1:30 today, and jump into this session. It's going to be seriously good. So jump into that. That's the session there. Book into there. That's the one where people will be getting all the lovely taking action pieces. I can see people jumping into there now, so it's great. So in the chat, let's talk about actually the $1 million sprint and how that can help you achieve your goals today. Cool. Right. That's end of the official piece of the conversation today. Sorry I overran a bit today, but all those lovely wins were awesome. Thank you. There's some people jumping in there. Sharon, thank you, saying done. She's in there. John's in there. Fantastic. So Susan says, how long are these videos are going to be available? Remember, this is a pop-up Facebook group. So this group pops up, but it also pops down after the challenge. So it's not going to pop down on Friday, but it will probably be, we'll be concluding this next week. So it's a nice kind of start and work through. But look, it's about taking these learnings. I want you to build habits. That's why we're doing the 100 Club again today. So the whole point of this is to build habits. The Zoom session at 1:30, Safar, is it will be about 45 minutes. I've got an hour that's on the actual booking, but most of what we'll be doing is about 45 minutes in there. But look, thank you. I'm going to throw it into the room for comments and questions now. Great to see you, by the way, gang. Nicola, yes. And then Andrew.
Not really sure how relevant this is, but it's just occurred to me, the information that's going into the chat, are you kind of monitoring it, or are you kind of regulating how it's used?
Currently in the chat, I'm not seeing it. So what's in the chat? I don't
know if anybody's putting their business detail or telephone numbers or what have you. So I don't if anybody's aware of it and how it's used, basically. So you're just leaving it up to the people in the room.
Yeah, I'm leaving it up to the people in the room. I'm trusting you all. But look, guys, I mean, the point of it is, but when it comes to chat, I mean, we're all grown ups. We've been on this before. Like, it's there to, it's here to network, right? So I actually want you guys to kind of network and grow connections. Like, if anybody's trying to, I'm not sure if there's a particular instance that you're talking about here, Nicola. If someone's trying to sell something in the chat, then I don't think that anybody's going to really be that. Yeah,
I use it differently. I think I transpose it into a CRM and I kind of use it that way. But obviously, we don't want to spam or cold call or what if there's any kind of GPDR regulations or anything like that. Oh,
what in these chats and these calls? No, look, everybody's in the Facebook group. So if there's anybody on there that you particularly think's cool, then connect with them. Say hi. Give them a DM.
All right.
Yeah. No worries. Okay, Andrew. Yes. Oh, I think you
the question I had was, could you just go over the split testing part? What was the trying out the B part? What was that again?
Did you were here yesterday? We did the DMs, the 80 people that you went out, or the first degree connections, and so you did a direct message. All we're doing on that direct message is sending out another 80 today, but this time we're just adding the Calendly link into that message. So what we want to do is we want to test a request to have a meeting versus a request to have a meeting with the meeting link. And what we want to see is actually over the fullness of time, the reason why this is an important test is that one, you'll get people, say you get 6 people that come back and say, yes, I have a meeting, but actually only 4 of them will go on to book the meeting with you, because through the back and forth, they might kind of then start to go quiet on you, versus maybe sticking the link in. That means you only get 5 bookings, not the 6 people that said yes, but yet obviously over the fullness of time, those 5 people actually turn up and do the booking. So it's a bit of a test, just to let you guys know, we've settled with our market with without the link in there. So we follow up with the link second time, but I want you to test, because we've got other clients that swear by having the link in that first message, because it just means that they're just seeing it. They come in the morning after a day's worth of outreach the day before, and they've got like 2 or 3 Calendly booking appointments straight in their diary, and they're like, this is amazing. So do test and measure. Does that help? Cool. Martin. Yes,
thank you, Richard. A few questions. First of all, the Zoom link that you put up here. Now, is that your own Zoom link? I mean, I don't understand how to customize a Zoom link like that and make it the same every time.
So do you mean the Zoom link that I just put in for the 1:30 session today, or
No, the one you put in, one you showed us when you were demonstrating your today's
so
tasks.
I think that's a Calendly link as opposed to a Zoom link. And so the Calendly booking thing, and then in there, yes, you're right, it had a Zoom link. So let me show you where you can get that from. So if you go into your Calendly, sorry, I'm getting confused as well. Right. So if you go into your Zoom, and you'll find your dashboard. Now, you don't set this up as a meeting in here. What you do is you scroll down. I'm glad you asked, Martin, because actually it wasn't clear. And you'll see here meeting, personal meeting ID. And you'll see here, and actually you just click this button, which means that you show it. And then that is my personal meeting ID. Now, I use that for my all of my strategy sessions. I use that same link for many of my client group coaching calls as well, because it just means that people pop in, and I just jump in there. That's where I hang out. And it's kind of a room literally that I hang out and people pop in and out of. And so therefore using that, never publish it. Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but you don't need to share it on your social media as a natural thing. Okay. Have it as a booking thing. Yeah.
All right. And the personal meeting ID, is all of this, is the personal meeting ID and the Zoom HTTPS number, are both of those things done for you by Zoom?
Yes, you don't need the ID though.
Okay.
Just grab the link. Just grab the link, because when someone clicks on it, we'll just pop them straight into the chat.
All right, thank you. When you talk about a thesis, now is this an academic thesis, or is it simply something that you have put together to explain your theories and your approach?
So this is another funnel that we talk about. So it's called the thesis funnel, right? And essentially it's basically like a bit of a process more than anything else. So thesis might be perhaps not as well used as it should, maybe should be, but I'll stick this in the chat if anybody's interested.
Okay.
Interested.
Sorry, go on. My point being, this is the thesis is something you write to get a master's or a doctorate. Yeah. Is that what you're talking about? So do you have a master's or a doctorate in your own chosen subject?
I got given my master's. I have an honorary master's from Southampton University. So it's what happens when you go on a TV show, Martin. They give you like a master's. So yeah, I've got an MBA. But I thought I might as well write something. This is not that. This is not well written enough to warrant an actually. This is basically 5,000 words of how to scale, a 9-step process on how to scale a business. It's essentially a very long blog, but if you say it's a thesis, it sounds cool, right? And as a marketing man, I'm not afraid to kind of use whichever words come to mind at the time.
All right, thank you. That's fine.
Cool.
My next question is, these presentations, how do we access those? Because they are very difficult to absorb every single thing that you say. And it would be great to be able to revisit them and replay them.
Are you in the Facebook group?
No, I'm not, I don't think, because I joined on Monday. I didn't come in on the weekend.
So jump into the Facebook group. Every single one of them is live. This is currently going live in the Facebook group. So jump in the Facebook group. All the replays are in there. All the different posts to do actions.
Yeah, that's fine. How do I get to the Facebook group? Sorry to be dim, but I need to ask these questions.
No, you're absolutely fine. I'm going to put it into the chat for you now. You should have been getting emails from me with those.
I have. All right. Okay.
Perfect. There you go. Okay. It's in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. I'm going to have to dive off just before the hour. So I'm going to go quick. I'm going to move to Mike, and then I'm going to try and get to Morris, Brenda, and Mia before we go. So Mike, go. Sorry, Martin, for having to.
No, that's no problem. You've answered all my questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, good stuff.
Okay.
Mike.
Super quick. I found it. I was a little frustrated yesterday. I've got one response wanting to talk, so that's fabulous, Rich. Thank you very much.
Great.
But it was only from 40 because but I couldn't squeeze any more than 40 out of my existing 4,000 for the specific niche that I'm looking for. Would you recommend? Because, for example, just quickly, I'm targeting owners of consulting and marketing agencies.
Yeah.
Now, would it be wise, because I do work with SME owners and managing directors, would it be wise just to try and squeeze every last opportunity out of my existing 4,000 to widen the search a little bit? Or
you'll need to change your header. You'll need to change your header. And yes, I would do. Why not? If you can work with them, but I would change my header to say I work with entrepreneurs or SMEs to be able to do X, Y, and Z, right?
Okay.
So
change the header to reflect that.
Yeah, because that's why we did the header, because it makes people feel really comfortable that you're a specialist in my field. But then once you've done that, I would be doing my connection campaign down your niche, and then I'd revert back to the header.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, Mike. Good to see you. Morris.
Okay. Very quickly, you talk a lot about sending them follow-up emails and things. Where do you store those emails, and how do you harvest them?
So Kajabi is what I use for my email marketing, because it's also where I've got all my website and course stuff. So I love Kajabi. The emails that we use, we got a clever way of being able to automate the taking of connections emails if they publicly put them out on their LinkedIn profiles. Now, this, by the way, gang, is purely my interpretation of stuff, and it is not advice in any single way, because GDPR is a very personal thing. But in my opinion, if someone's connected with me and then I go onto their profile and they have contact information on a button, and in that contact information, they've put their email address, and I feel that as my connection, I want to send that person an email, I feel totally cool to do that, because that's my connection's giving me some contact info. So hence why I then send them an email. Now, the fact that I automate that whole thing is just the nuts and bolts in terms of that process, but the thesis is not wrong, in my opinion. And so therefore, that's how we do it. But that's the clever stuff that I'll be talking about at 1:30 today and showing a bit of that. So that's how we work it. You may disagree. Lots of people do, but that's how I roll.
Just as a matter of interest, I'm so time poor this weekend. I've done effectively nothing on your challenge, except that the headline change caused somebody to get back to me and said, so tell me about this mentoring thing.
There you go. So
zero effort. Who knew?
Zero effort, one lead. Could you just imagine if we spent a bit more time together, Morris?
Oh, yeah. I'll see you at 1:30.
Right, Brenda, go for you.
Oh, hi, Richard. Thanks very much. Great. Sorry I missed yesterday, but I had appointments that I couldn't get out of.
That's cool.
So I'm glad to be here. So on the link, I just want to say, I use my link. I'm with Acuity, and I've actually got a Calendly account, so I'm deciding whether is it worth upgrading to the back into Calendly, because I do like your visual, the way it appears. So I'm considering that, but I use my link already in Messenger on LinkedIn, and it works a treat. I get up and there's appointments there, you know, but things need to be a wee bit more streamlined the way that you're teaching us now. So the 80-20, because I missed yesterday, so 80 connections from your group. I've changed my names and I've got 1.2 million connections.
Okay, well, it's 20 connection requests to people you're not connected with, and it's 80 messages to people you are connected with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I've got that. Okay, so that's just Kajabi. When in your business would you need something like Kajabi?
I tell you what, that's a great question to ask at 1:30 today.
I can't come because I'm going to London. I'm really
okay. Look, I've got to dive because I'm 1 minute over, and it's a group session I've got to jump into. So let's try and take some of these questions. Mia, sorry that I'm going to have to jump as well. Fantastic to see you. Kajabi should be only used if you were doing online courses. There's no other business case for it. Otherwise, there's better email marketing software out there. There's better website software out there. But it does do the whole thing, which is why it's beautiful in its own all-in-one system world. But look, we can come on to that later. Tomorrow's going to be awesome, guys. See you here 9 o'clock. Big love. See you at 1:30 if I don't see you before. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Sorry for having to dive off. Bye.